Awesome. So why don't we start with that? The 8 pillars of wellness. What are these 8 pillars? And can you share it to our listeners here today?
Welcome to Adulting with Joyce Pring, the how-tos of your 20s told by 20-something, traversing through life expectantly and with gusto.
Number one, it's physical well-being, physical wellness. You want to develop yourself. Thus, you work out. Thus, you exercise. You join yoga. You join Pilates. You eat healthy food. Next one, you have your social. You try to develop to your social well-being, which in you connect with different people. You learn from them. You talk to them. No, this is your second one. Next is your emotional, in which it was very hardly hit during the pandemic. Sobrang daming nangyari, no? Next is your occupational, your work, your career. Next, you have your finances. Next, you have your very important, and I think you've already talked on this as well, spiritual. Next, you have your intellectual. And then last is you have your environment. No? So these 8 should be tackled throughout our lives. It shouldn't be like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on physical. No? It shouldn't just be that way. You have to have a balance of the 8. Without one pillar, if you're so low of one pillar, the rest of the pillar follows. You have like a domino effect.
Mm-mm. And very important what you said because it really talks about holistic well-being. Because I feel like sometimes, we focus too much on one thing, especially whatever is trending online. And we sometimes forget that a human being, for us to be able to thrive and actually be healthy, you have to find the perfect balance of holistic well-being. You don't have to be perfect on all 8, but you actually have to be able to focus or at least pay attention to all 8, because if you start not just focusing on one thing and not minding the other 7, it would actually be the detriment of your whole being, because you can't just be physiologically okay and not mentally stable, or the other way around, right? So I think this can be overwhelming. It's a great idea, Coach Paulo. I have to tell you, it's a great idea to be holistically healthy, but it can be overwhelming. So if you're a person right now who's listening to this podcast and you just want to start out, how can you start your journey into holistic well-being? What would be the first, or what would be the simple steps towards it?
Very simple. You just sit down, you get a pen, you get your ball pen, and also your notebook. Sit down and ask yourself, especially if you're a teenager, you're a young adult or adult, where am I at my life as of the moment? So it starts with self-reflection, no? So once you've already have your self-reflection, all right, and you try to write down the top 5 things that you need to improve on for yourself. After narrowing the 5, you choose only one.
And I like how everything starts with self-reflection, right? Because in reality, if you want to talk about development, it requires a lot of honesty with yourself. It requires a lot of really being honest and sincere about the things that you are good at and the things that you struggle with. You have to be honest with yourself also. How much time does it really take me to develop these different facets of my life? And the only thing that you really have to remember is how committed will you be to these changes? Because sometimes we set these goals for ourselves and we think about the things that we want to do, and we're easily discouraged. Pag hindi natin nagawa after 3 trips to the gym, grabe, hindi ko pa rin kaya mag-push up ng maayos. Ayaw mo na kaagad, 'di ba? But I think what you're saying, 1 year, right? 1 year is a long enough time for you to do a proper push-up. And if you
Yes,
give yourself
exactly.
just 1 year to accomplish something profound in your life, you will actually be surprised. Kasi the next few changes that you want to attain will be much easier for you. There's something about the human psyche that changes when we're able to achieve something and finish something. I find it that when I started reading books, for example, it felt so daunting to finish one whole book. So I broke it down. How do you eat an elephant? You break it down into little parts. You don't really eat elephants, but what I'm saying metaphorically is, how do you finish something that's really big? You break it down into little parts. So instead of thinking, ay nako, I have to finish this one big book, start thinking first, how do I finish one chapter?
That is
So
true.
Does that mean that I do 2 pages per day? Does that mean I do 5 pages per day? So take it step by step is what Coach Pao is talking about. And I find that that's so encouraging, especially for people who, like what you said, diba? Especially kung introvert ka or extrovert ka man, pero hindi mo alam how to handle all these emotions and changes in your life, especially when you're a young adult or you're an adult already going through these new changes in our environment. Kailangan mo lang siya to take step by step.